Welcome to another TMC Newsroom event. I'm Carl Ford here at CTIA. I'm here with Jeff Smith, who is the CTO of Numerex.
That's right.
So, Numerex does machine-to-machine. Why don't you express just a general statement about Numerex, how big it is, and how many people it touches, and that kind of stuff?
Numerex is a public company. We're about 15 years old, about 135 employees.
Okay. And publicly traded, so that means what's the sign? Do we know the
NMRX?
NMRX.
That's right.
So as we sit here and we deal with all those people who are thinking about going back into the stock market, we'll know that
and the tech sector is about to explode.
It is, and one of the reasons is because of the fact that there are lots of devices in this world.
That's right.
So tell me about basically the role of Numerex with the wireless community and how you guys are enabling things like, I would assume people are doing things like monitoring and managing devices via you?
We do. You know, there's really three different types of applications.
Okay.
You have things that do tracking type applications. You have exception-based applications. You have logging type applications.
Okay.
We like to call it the Numerex DNA. We provide devices, networks, and applications in order to solve machine-to-machine-like problems.
Okay. And in these days where things are all kind of moving towards IP with the benefit of the internet, are people able to develop on your solutions? Is there like a community to work with you guys to build up from there?
You know, we have the interesting thing about the network side of the business is you have satellite type applications, you have GPRS and CDMA applications, and you have SMS applications, and it's a complex mix of trying to do all those sorts of things. So what we do is we provide a foundation. We call it FAST, and the foundation allows people to very quickly build an application. And then around that foundation, we wrap a developers community, which we announced today. And in that developers community, we have a lot of interchange between different people to allow them to exchange code. The system that we provide is an open source application that they can get up and running with a particular device in a few hours. And then after they do that, they can modify that application using web-based type tools like Ruby on Rails, which is a very common web-based application programming language. And then inside that developers community is where people can exchange ideas and code in order to enhance the application.
So now, just walk me through this a little bit more, because the question I got is I almost think of you guys like an element management system, right? And there's very device-specific calls, things that have to happen on machine-to-machine type solutions, and yet at the same time you're trying to enable an API in effect, right?
That's correct.
So how do you get the people onto the common strategy of enabling the API? Is the element management system kind of one layer down, or how do you deal with the software development?
At the lowest layer, the device layer,
right,
we have a certain number of devices that we support.
Okay.
And we have about 20 devices that we support, and each of those devices we provide code which runs on the device for it to be able to communicate through a gateway. We provide the gateway, and we provide the database that communicates directly to the device. We call that the device database. And then we have another database, which is really the application database. The application database basically triggers between the device database and the application database, and that allows people to be able to build applications which are totally abstracted away from the devices themselves.
So now, one of the discussions that I've had earlier today is that we've got a lot of people in the development space looking at how to take advantage of the wireless world. Do you expect to see widgets out of this, or do you expect everything to be kind of hardwired for very specific applications, or by creating the application developers community, are you looking for people to basically get the ability to like plug and play different devices together and create?
Yeah, in many cases, you know, they have a very specific need, and so they have a very specific device for that need. In some cases, they want hybrid devices or hybrid networks, and there are some relatively generic devices now that have, you know, gazintas and gazatas and, you know, inputs and outputs and analog and digital, you know, type things that allow you to be a little bit more flexible in what the application is. The nice thing about the platform and the developers community is it really allows people to be able to focus on their particular application and not have to worry about all the different layers of the design itself.
So one more thing, we've been using the word device kind of freely here, and you're the first person to ever use a gazinta gazata with me, other than myself. So the question for you is, can we be more specific about what type of devices?
Absolutely.
Are we talking about sensors for, you know, fuel cells, tanks, where are we at?
So the types of devices that we have a number of tracking devices. For instance, we have a device that plugs directly into the little OBD connector in your car, and then we have an application above that. There's lots of different types of applications that people will write, be able to take advantage of the information that they might get from the OBD connector. For instance, somebody might go write an application that has to do with teenage driving. Somebody might write an application that has to do with the insurance industry for pay-as-you-go. Somebody might write another application which just has to do with maintenance or numbers of miles driven. And then other devices, we have a number of devices which are just what I call tagging devices, which have basically a location component and may send up and schlep a location once a day, but it may do it on a set of batteries for 3 to 5 years. And then we have a series of devices which we support, which have really generic input-output. So it'll read a tank level, it'll read your temperature, it'll read a humidity, it'll read a cathode detection on a pipeline. So in addition to location, you also get some sensor value. And then we have some devices that have outputs. And so you go to a web-based interface and are able to manipulate something that's out there in the Netherland that you don't necessarily want to drive a truck to.
Jeff, this sounds great. I want to take
Thanks very much.
better look. Just so we know, Numerex is spelled Numerex.
That's
I just
right.
want to make sure that people know that. So
Thanks very
again,
much.
thank you very much.
I appreciate it.